Assalamu alaikum and welcome to episode 50 on the After Maghrib podcast, where today we are celebrating 1 year of weekly conversations with myself and the co-host and everyone here at the team After Maghrib, where we want to look back and sort of recap, you know, all the excitement, all the conversations, all the highs and the lows that we've had throughout the year. But more importantly, it is because of your support and your engagement with the podcast. Now, I don't know where to begin, but as always, to my electric co-host. Electric.
For the 50th times.
In the first episode, you said, I welcome my electric co-host.
Did I say electric or eccentric or something like that?
I don't know, it was rhyme words everywhere. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. شلون الصحة؟
Alhamdulillah. क्या हाल
कैसे हैं
है?
आप? الحمد لله ठीक
ठीक है?
तबीयत कैसे हैं? How's your health? شلون الصحة?
Alhamdulillah. If you're well, I'm well.
I'm well, alhamdulillah, bro, alhamdulillah. And guys, 50 episodes, mashallah.
Crazy, huh?
صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.
It's been a journey,
وآل محمد
mashallah,
وعجل
mashallah.
فرجه.
I think about, firstly, it's mad ironic that the 1 year anniversary of After Maghrib fell on the 50th episode.
Sounds like a
Ahmed,
marriage.
there's 52 weeks in a year.
Sorry?
There's 52 weeks in a
Yeah,
year.
we took a break here and there, innit?
Hey, so obviously 50th is going to land on the 1 year.
Yeah, but it's cool, innit? It's nice.
Well, do you know
It's
how we
nice.
got 50? Because if there's 52 weeks in a year and we had a few weeks of a break between
And-
season 1 and 2, Ramadan we had a few
We had
extra
extra episodes.
we caught
Yeah,
up.
added up,
Yeah.
exactly.
Complete coincidental. It's cool, isn't it? So obviously it's been a massive journey. So before we even start, guys, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. You have made After Maghrib serve its purpose, and its purpose is purely just to give back to the community, to try and engage with people, to try and serve our youth, to try and thank our elders, and inshallah to grow as a generation of Western Muslims who are striving to be on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. But you know, I always think back on this. I remember I was in the kitchen one day, I was making chai, probably like in May 2022.
Deep, no invite.
And we were talking on the group chat, what should we call the podcast?
Ooh.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
And who is it? One of you guys suggested After Maghrib.
We were going to go with Shia Chat.
Was it
My
Shia
God.
chat?
I really didn't want to go with Shia Chat.
That definitely was not my idea. And I remember thinking, After Maghrib, very interesting name. Initially, I wasn't 100% on it, but it grew on me. And now, Pete, you know, someone said to me the other day, "Oh, Ahmed, I thought I don't see you in daylight. I only see you after Maghrib."
Yeah.
Like, and I ran into him. I'm like, bro, everywhere I go now, there's a pun.
And the ironic thing here is that every time like I want to meet my friends or something, we'd always message, we'll link after Maghrib. And then my brain just reads podcast. But actually in the timing after Salah, basically.
Start being traumatized. Religious trauma.
I'm having
Yeah,
PTSD.
honestly, alhamdulillah, it's kind of worked out well. But I just want to read some statistics for you guys, okay?
Go on.
Mushtaba, I want you, when you edit this, I beg you, bro, put this up on screen.
Depends. Inshallah.
This is
Anyway.
interesting. Drum roll.
All right. After Maghrib.
Maghrib.
1 year in, after 50 episodes, 12,000 followers across social media, 2.8 million views on social media,
Wow.
90,000 listens to our episodes across platforms.
That's crazy.
90,000.
Mad.
And 50 episodes until now. 10% of our audience is under 17. 31% of our listeners are between 18 and 22. And 25% of our listeners are between 23 and 27. 6 out of 10 listeners are sisters. And most of our listeners are in the UK and the US. And then surprisingly, we've got listeners around the world, like in completely
Which one
random
of those
corners
stands out to you the most?
in terms of areas.
Not just that. Which statistic surprises you?
What do you think, Said?
The 90,000 listeners.
90,000 listens.
Listen, sorry.
Yeah.
That's mad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In a year, I mean, firstly, I think it goes to show that inshallah we're on the right track here.
Inshallah.
Because I remember there was a previous podcast where you mentioned, you know, there's like a certain milestone podcasts normally have to reach.
Yes.
And if they reach, they go beyond these points. That means inshallah we're on the right track here.
Inshallah.
I think it's the one, you mentioned this last week, Ahmed, in the group chat. You were like, only 5% of podcasts make it past episode 50.
I'm going to just play it now because one of the listeners sent it to me after hearing that podcast. Yeah, so Haydar Al-Ta'i, a good friend of ours, he sent us this this point we were discussing. Listen to this, yeah?
90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3. And of the 10% that do, 90% don't make it past episode 20. So by making 21 podcasts, you're in the top percentile of all podcasters ever in history. That's what hard feels like. And that's not even hard, it's just consistent.
For everyone who's like struggling to win, it's like most of the pain that people experience is purely in their own minds.
90% of...
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's I think it's a good achievement. Not self-achievement, it's nothing, but in terms of the hard work that the team puts in, because as much as me and you are sitting here, there's actually a lot of work. The majority of the work's behind the scenes. Yeah,
Getting everyone to come in on a Monday at 9
people
p.m.
need to come in after Maghrib, literally. You know,
we've gone home 2-3 a.m. sometimes.
You know, they need to come to the setup, the cameras, the mics, the editing, the marketing. There is so much that goes on.
So much contacting
and
guests.
we're just sitting here.
On the phone to guests, arranging all of the time, location, and the post production. Say Mushtaba, all the editing of the podcasts, the reels, the captions, the cover photos, all of that stuff. Everyone who's putting in work, it does not go unnoticed, and we probably collectively put in dozens of hours a week. You know, I just want to obviously thank as well Ahlul Bayt TV and Sayyid Hassan, a good friend of ours, for letting us reach this milestone, and inshallah we can do it to continue to serve.
Especially from how much Sayyid Hassan loves the name.
Yeah, mashallah. Sayyid Hassan's encouraged us. Mashallah, may Allah bless him. All right, I want to ask you guys a few questions.
Go on.
What has been your top 3 favorite episodes? I know it's hard to think like bang, bang, bang. So I'm going to ask you one by one. Bounce back and forth. Sayyid.
Oof.
What episodes are the most memorable for you? And don't just think recent ones, you can think old ones as well.
The most memorable episodes. Firstly, I think every episode is memorable
100%.
because I get to spend time with you. But then I get to go home and then think, what we said, what did I say, etc. And then sometimes I would listen to it once it airs and I'm like, okay, that was a good episode. I thought I spoke nonsense, but alhamdulillah, God has allowed us to, inshallah, speak where we don't have issues.
Yalla, Sayyid. Yalla, give me the 3.
The 3. Okay.
Well, give me one. That comes to mind.
Right now, the first thing that comes to my mind is the one we had with Sheikh Jawad Shumali. Because that was one episode I genuinely said that I fell in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on set and once I got home until now. I feel like I sort of, not that I had no love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but literally I felt the love of Allah in that conversation. And that was one conversation where it was focused on God completely.
Yeah.
And that's very rare for us to always focus on just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So 1 hour of falling in love with God was worth every moment, every minute.
Episode 36 that was. So if you haven't heard it, make sure you go back and listen. Definitely one of our most popular ones. What about you, Mushtaba?
There's 3 that stand out.
I didn't finish my other 2.
Oh,
Have you come up with them already?
do you have them in mind?
Go ahead.
Lala, go.
I was going to say part-time Muslims.
Yeah.
But back in season 1,
Yeah.
what we spoke about was related to Muharram and,
I think it was one of my
part-time
favorites as well,
Muslims.
Definitely.
But the beauty of it from that episode is that we didn't say these people are part-time Muslims. It's that we tried to say, let's be consistent Muslims. And that was the term that you used. So I really enjoyed that episode as well. And that was one that connected a lot with the listeners.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was surprised because I was like, they might take it wrong that we're actually calling it part-time Muslims.
I think we all realized.
The audience really resonated with that episode.
And I feel like we realize that we're all in some degree are part-time Muslims.
Yeah.
We're part-time everything. We're
To
part-time.
clarify, we were not full-time. We tried to.
I mean, we're all part-time at something, innit? Like, we might be part-time a good son, part-time a good husband, part-time a good father, part-time a good employee. So in many ways, we're also part-time a good Muslim. And that's not ideal. True. Yeah. What's your third one, Said?
Shia, I'm proud.
Shia, I'm proud.
I'll always remember that.
Which one was that one with the MMA guy?
Yeah,
really?
Raphael.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
You know why I enjoyed that? Because I felt like, although inshallah every conversation is me who I am, I felt like that episode was just me. It was Ali Radhawi. I was who I was.
You are yourself.
It was my comfort zone, like my true comfort zone. That conversation.
Interesting. How about you, Said? I'm just looking back at like all the
first one is the
ones.
part-time Muslim. Same reason Said Ali mentioned.
Come on, give me another one, bro. 50 to choose
my
from.
favorite content-wise was Ibrahim Ansari's one.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. Yeah,
really good. And
That was.
I'll check the episode. You can carry on. I'll Find out what episode.
Ibrahim Ansari.
Was something got to do with dua
It was
or
Become-
maintaining a spiritual high?
Yes,
Spiritual
that
High,
was
episode 40.
beautiful. Yeah.
Great episode, episode 40.
The third one
Sage,
was
you
the
can't say
Mehdi
past-
Taqi one.
I left
Ooh,
my heart.
I left my
I
heart in
left my heart in
Karbala.
Karbala.
MashaAllah.
I
That was a
think
wicked episode.
deep down, we all really enjoyed listening to that. And the clips, I think, is one of our most loved clips
Yes,
till
yes.
today.
Mehdi broke our hearts on that one.
Yeah.
And to be honest, guys, if you have not heard, if you're a newer listener to After Maghrib, go back to season 1, look at our content from last year Muharram, and you will absolutely love it. I know, inshallah, hopefully you will. But we did 5 or 6 episodes last Muharram, 6 or 7 to be honest, and some of them were really good.
I have 2
Yeah,
that I loved for the creativity of making the thumbnails.
go on.
Which is what?
Guess which ones?
Digital hijab and
No,
shisha
I know,
cafes.
wait, I know which ones they are. If I had to guess you, Andrew Tate
Yes.
and Amir Khan goes Ziyara.
Nah.
Okay.
Toxic TikTokers.
Toxic
Ooh,
TikTokers.
I really enjoyed making a thumbnail for that one.
Very good.
That was interesting. That
About
was
the
very
person you
interesting.
bled out, right?
Very interesting. So
There's the Andrew Tate one done really well with just because of the thumbnail.
the thumbnail was fantastic.
Uh,
Yeah. So the ones which I would say,
What's your 3?
so it's proper hard because obviously they're so different. You've got the more relaxed podcasts like the reaction videos, the Chat GPT ones. Then we have like the one with Amir Sadiq where we were having dessert in Ramadan. And then we've got the more serious ones with guests or we're talking about more contentious topics.
Yeah.
But if I was to pick, I really liked African Imams with Muhammad Ali. Of course, now as part of the team. You know, racism and African Imams.
yeah.
That was one of my favorites, just because I think it touched on a really important issue. Number 18, episode 18. I love that one. There was one we did on companions of Imam Hussein.
On
Do
the
you remember that?
companions? Was
We
it
did
about
a
friendship?
Muharram one.
Muharram one. We did a one on.
I think that was
companions.
Ashura special,
Was it the Ashura
Yes.
special?
where we like shared some
We
stories.
talked about the companions of the Imam.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
not
Always-
so common stories.
And then I managed to hear you recite at the end.
Yeah. I think it was that one. We both broke down on the podcast that day. I really like that one. When I think about the Muharram podcasts, I think my favorite podcasts have been the seasonal ones. Ashura and Muharram.
Oh,
Um,
by the way, this Ramadan, all our episodes in Ramadan, I enjoyed all.
Alhamdulillah, they were all
Really,
really
seriously,
good.
I
Really,
feel
really
like
good.
we done what we are here to do. Yani, you know, where we can firstly have a conversation within a podcast theme, you know, bring
Yeah.
guests who can share wisdom, share knowledge. At the same time, you know, where we can learn, the listeners can engage and learn from as well. And I think Ramadan proved that to us.
Yeah,
And I know sometimes Mushtaba shares with us statistics in terms of, you know, our Spotify listeners or wherever there is an Apple. Ramadan was like out of
Peak
control.
levels, yeah,
Out of
alhamdulillah,
control,
yeah.
mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
I think the
Alhamdulillah.
content was perfect for our audience and
It was just right.
we
just
might be
right.
wrong, guys. If we're wrong, correct us. Like, you know, if this is what you like to see, let us know.
In reality, we're just waffling
We're
bare.
just
We
waffling.
think we're
Maybe-
doing well.
No. I mean, honestly, we're trying our
We
best.
might be waffling. Wallah,
I
I've told
liked-
so much people, sorry to cut you there, that me and Ahmed, we just sit here, we talk. Sometimes I think I'm talking nonsense. But then when I learn down the line, a few days later, after the podcast episode's being released, someone says, my life changed. Yeah, at the very beginning of After Maghrib, I don't know if you remember this, maybe you will. Where someone messaged and they sent a picture, they were in a hospital bed. They were like, I was like
Listening to After Maghrib.
thinking of suicide. If that
Really?
was the right
Yeah.
thing I read. And then I came across you guys.
No. Oh yeah, I remember.
And then
this,
hospital,
yeah, I
and they
remember
sent
this,
the photo and everything. I was like,
Subhanallah, yeah.
Subhanallah, like
Some really touching
we can
stories,
talk
yeah,
anything,
really,
we can
really
say
And then
anything.
there was the sister who started talking about us on her podcast. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, at the very
Class.
beginning. Yes, yes.
There's been a couple as well, a couple of sisters or different podcasts which have shouted us out, and like loads of which we want to collaborate with. I like there's some random ones. I'm just gonna throw some names out. Jinn Stories, Evil Eye, and Black Magic. That was a wicked one. Avoiding Music with Sister Holda. That was really good. Imran Datu with Imam Mehdi podcast. That was cool. Shias Don't Read Quran with Rashid.
Sister
That was-
Hawra put up Q&A on her Instagram, I think last week
Okay.
or the week before, and they're like, she's like, what's your favorite content that I've posted? And I think majority of her answers were After Maghrib.
Really, yeah. I really like that. That Sheikh Andrew Tate one with Sheikh Jafar Lalik was wicked. Which ones? I really like the one with Sayyid Muhammad Musawi, the Arba'in Walk. I
That was
really
very
liked
good
that. I was
chemistry
very
in that
like-
episode.
Huh?
Very good chemistry in that episode.
Yeah, it was just like a nice chat.
Was it titled Ziyara vs Luxury Holidays?
Ziyara,
Yeah.
Arba'in, walk, and luxury hotels.
Sick.
Yeah, that's cool. And also the Shia misconceptions one.
You know, I love that a lot.
Which one?
The Shia misconceptions.
Yeah.
Because I think that was the most engaged one when it came to
always gets
social
engagement.
platforms.
Oh my god.
Because it shows the world
Yeah.
that, bro, the misconceptions are real.
You Shia, don't do this. You Shia, why are you
Who
doing
came
that?
first, Ali or Muhammad?
Yeah,
But see, remember, most of the comments are
Bro.
people baffled about what you're talking about. They take it out of context.
Bro, I went to, I think I messaged you. I went to center to recite for the birth of Lady Fatima Zahra.
Yeah.
After I finished, some guy came up to me. He goes, I know you. I thought I'm going to get attacked. He goes, you're the guy who said, who came first, Ali or Muhammad? Like, literally like that. I was like, that wasn't me. He asked me the question. But it's crazy, huh?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
What's the plans with After Maghrib?
It's a good question you ask. The plan is we can't be stagnant. We can't be the same. I think we should always improve. Not in terms of, for example, the content that we should give out to our viewers and listeners, but I think we should improve ourselves.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing I like about this podcast is made me think twice. Sometimes, if I used to think twice before, I'm actually thinking now 3 times. So if I were to do or say something or associate someone or something, I'm like, bro, I've got responsibility now.
If I do something wrong, Ahmed's gonna get.
If I do something,
Right.
if I do something wrong, Khataya is not just me on the line. It's the podcast. Yeah, we've built like a
Community.
global platform community where we can say there's association that we should only show good, do good, and speak good, and everything that's good. So
But alhamdulillah, yani, the community that we've built, I think it feels. It's
organic.
It's a family. It's organic.
Yeah.
It really
It doesn't
is,
feel
yeah.
like
It's not
we've
forced.
we force these people to follow us or
And we try
interact with us, and you really enjoy it when you speak to them.
And for those who message us will know, like, we try to engage in conversation with them on DMs, and like a lot of people message their personal experiences. There's been people who've asked us for advice, even though we're not like ulama or psychiatrists or mental health advisors or anything, but like we'll try and point them in the right direction to someone who can help or whatever, which I really appreciate.
Well, we just had one the other day. I
feedback.
don't know if you read the DMs.
Yeah,
There was someone, they did mention, please don't mention this. I'm not going to mention it, what it was.
Yeah.
But I said, we can help to the best of our ability, inshallah, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
I just want to thank everyone as well, because for me on like a personal level as well, I think the podcast has allowed me to do something I love, and that is to learn and to network and to meet people who are godly and to try and do something small in the way of giving back. By my nature, I enjoy media. Like, that's something I like to do. Like, I like getting involved in media. Producing this show and hosting has been like one of the biggest honors for me. And being able to grow with others and to learn from people like yourself, Said, and obviously all the guests we've been having on, it's been a complete honor. Obviously, there's been times maybe where we have reflected on previous episodes recently or a long time ago and thought maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe we shouldn't have discussed this with a certain guest, or maybe we should have avoided this angle or worded it differently. And to be honest, like, these things happen.
Or maybe not use the title and the episode.
Yeah, like, and obviously we
names.
have these disputes internally, but like, obviously these things happen when you're talking about matters of religion, which are very sensitive and very touchy, right? But at the end of the day, we're trying to just do our best, and like I've said, ABTV has smashed it by, like, their vision is to engage a young audience, and After Maghrib has become the brand which will do that. So of course, for those who don't know, After Maghrib has got is now kind of like an umbrella body, inshallah, which the podcast is kind of initiated it. And of course, we now have Jumu'ah nights. If you've been tuning in with Brother Muhammad Ali, who is incredibly talented, very good-hearted, very learned for his age, speaks 7-8 languages now, mashallah. And he's got a bright future ahead of him, inshallah, so we need to support him. And he knows his responsibilities, at least I can say, as kind of helping produce that show with all of you guys and the team. Like, he's got a good heart. But we know we need to continue to support him, and we want to keep adding shows that serve a purpose, not for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But like stuff. So obviously, if you guys have got suggestions, give us a shout.
Indeed. And I think there was a point where, I'm going to share it here. There was a point where we've had 2 or 3 podcasts and then you've messaged me after, like, said, how was the conversation? What do you think? Or we just leave and then you say, call me when you drive. And I call you and we discuss the podcast. And I think that's important. It shows, number one, we are, watching what we're saying.
Yeah.
We're mindful of the content and the conversation that we're having and releasing to the world. So I think more importantly is, how did we do? Like, did we fulfill our duty? Are we doing what we're supposed to do as hosts? The main thing. But the most beautiful thing that I've learned from those conversations is that I think, inshallah, our intention on After Maghrib podcast is sincere. And inshallah remains sincere. And very recently there was a discussion we're having, and I was like, bro, if it's not for God, we're not having this conversation.
100%.
If the ultimate goal is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't want this. And then you mentioned, I think 2-3 weeks back, something that stuck with me. I was like, you know what, I've never seen it that way, but it's true. Like, someone messaged and they were like, they really like our chemistry. They really like, how you are, how I am, and how it mixes both together. And then I was like, you know what? That's because of one thing. When you come on here, when I come on here, it's not us trying to score points, trying to say a better point, or trying to, make something go viral or something. No, that's not the goal. It's a serious, inshallah, humble conversation. And that's what's led us to the success we are in today.
Man. It's been like, hosting with you is, I'll be honest, yeah. So I've worked, alhamdulillah, with Ahlul Bayt TV for nearly approaching 9-10 years. And I've hosted, alhamdulillah, I've had the chance to host like hundreds of shows, whether it's fundraising shows, whether it's interview shows, whether it's game shows, whether it's question and answers with ulama. I've had the chance to do it all. My favorite show, obviously, till date has been After Maghrib. And my favorite co-host till date is me and Saf Said. No offense to anyone who I've worked with in the past, but specifically because,
shout out to the Mike Hour podcast that didn't
this is another thing, yeah. We initially recorded a podcast, me and Mushtaba. We kind of worked on something before
After Maghrib.
Before After Maghrib, and before, to be honest, we even thought about asking you to join the team, Said, if you don't mind me saying. But a few months before we even came up with After Maghrib as a concept, me and Said Mushtaba were like, yeah, you know what ABTV needs? It needs a podcast. So we came up with it, and we had a team, and we probably recorded like 8 episodes.
I wasn't involved with it, by the way.
You weren't involved? Oh, no, you weren't in it. It was Said Mohsin.
It was. I found out after you guys finished recording.
Oh my God!
I was like, guys, this is the wrong direction to take if you're doing a podcast.
To be fair,
it's too formal.
It was not
traditional
the right context.
style.
Yeah, but alhamdulillah, like, we tried to refine it, and then 3-4 months later, we revisited. I called Mushtaba. I was like, I want to start a podcast again. What do we do? And he actually recommended you, Said.
Why did you recommend me?
The conversation.
The podcast thing, by the way, is something I've been trying to work on. I think I initially started it in around 2015 with some of my friends.
That's the year I left the channel.
This was years ago. No, it was probably 2017, I think. We recorded 2-3 episodes. I don't know. I wasn't happy with it. I was too busy. It was called, what did we call it? Do you remember the graphics I sent you for After Maghrib the first time?
Yeah, I remember.
I can't remember what it was called.
It's called Mike Hour or something.
No.
That's something else, yeah.
Mike Hour's what we were
Deancast.
Deancast.
Yeah.
We were going to call this Deancast. Do you remember?
I'll run 100 miles.
Yeah.
Deancast was the
and
first.
Then after it, I had a conversation with Said Ali, I think, and he wanted to do a podcast with Mohammed Musawi and Zahidi.
Yeah. Shout out.
Called The Conversation. I was like, guys, come on. Sounds like the most generic podcast you come across.
But that, by the way, just as a disclaimer, that podcast idea had nothing got to do with how this setup is.
No, I'm moving on.
Okay,
so then Ahmed asked me about that podcast. I'm like, listen, Said Ali wanted to do a podcast, and I reckon you guys would do well together. Let's give it a go.
Me and Said knew each other, but we didn't get to see each other a lot, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't get to see each other a lot, and yeah. It kind of was natural.
Now I see you more than
organically.
I see more than I see flipping a lot of my own friends and people I've grown up with. Alhamdulillah. Over the next 50 episodes, guys, inshallah, we'll be trying to just do our best, and hopefully you'll see the new seasons 3 coming out soon, and obviously Muharram is coming up shortly, so we're gonna try and give it our all. Me and Said we've got our own lives. I'm like having changes in my personal life, so there might be a point where I'm on or off the pod, but inshallah we'll try and work around it. And yeah, on to bigger and better things to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt al-Muslim, and that's it. Nothing else. That's our pure goal. Want to serve, go Hajj, go Ziyarah, and then die. Like, that's our goal. And then inshallah, we're good for the akhirah. Like, that's
Inshallah, we'll go ziyarah to all the maqamat first.
Ameen.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
God willing,
All the
God
14
willing.
and more.
But yeah, more importantly, I think we need to thank a few people.
Yeah, we do.
Firstly, the whole team here after Maghrib. Okay? Mushtaba, if you want to add names on the screen, that's up to you. But some people like to remain anonymous. We'll leave that alone. But more importantly, I want to thank every single guest that's come on to every episode that we've had them on. Because I've learned so much from them. And, I've connected with them where otherwise I would have not. I would have gained nothing, with just being another day with Ali Radhawi at home. Nothing going on.
Yeah.
The fact I've come here, learned from you, it's amazing. So thank you for coming to After Maghrib. But more importantly is our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah.
Whether you're watching on Ahl Bayt TV, on YouTube, on Spotify.
If
on
anyone
Apple.
wants to come on the podcast, feel free to message
Yeah,
us.
you can give us a shout. I mean, we've had guests over the last...
Slide in the DMs of After Maghrib.
Yeah.
It's-
No, but
it's
honestly
not saying
speaking,
Mushtabas.
over the
It's
last...
always fun when we have people who
Put
enjoy
themselves
the
forward.
podcast on the
I wanna
podcast.
come on, yeah.
And bro, over the last 3-4 months, we've had a couple of guests who have put themselves forward, and I've really enjoyed it. Because
Yeah.
they'll come forward, they'll say, I want to discuss this with you guys.
Uh,
Obviously,
we've always said this. We prefer normal everyday people rather than specialists. And experts.
I do have to say something.
Depends on the topic.
Yeah, it
depends
depends
on
on
the
the topic,
topic.
100%.
And to be honest, we have a procedure internally, so we have a production team, and we'll ask if you've done something before and where you're based and what you want to talk about, and if it's appropriate, inshallah khair, because obviously there are policies and we've got to adhere to some ahkam. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. So we have to thank all of these people, the guests, the subscribers, the team, of course, here After Maghrib, and also those who have given us feedback, our family, our friends, people in the community. There have been people who have been really critical, and we love it, we appreciate it. And there have been people who have cornered us at the mosque, or who have sat us down and had long discussions how we can improve.
The
and we
amount of
take it all
times
on board.
Ahmed has called me and say, bro, I just had a conversation. Someone said this.
Yeah,
My heart
yeah.
drops, and then alhamdulillah, it's good feedback mostly.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, most, and when it's not like, oh, you guys are doing great, it's constructive, which is helpful, right? So
It's important.
the
It's how
goal,
we learn, how we become better, and inshallah,
yeah.
we can continue to
We're
serve.
not trying to be ulama and sheikhs.
No.
We're not.
And
That's
I
never
think
been
we
our
made
goal.
that clear from the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
We're not here to tell you halal, haram. We're here to tell you, inshallah, what's good, what's bad for our experience. And inshallah,
Yeah.
through,
Chat about the same conversations everyone's having between
Yeah.
their friends.
Yeah.
Bro,
It's just like-
there lacks beneficial content for a young Western Muslim Shiite audience. We don't have that on a frequent live basis. God forbid if a natural disaster happened, or if a holy shrine got attacked, or if a mosque in the West, a Shiite mosque, Husseiniya, got attacked. Yes, we have media organizations like Ahl Bayt TV and other media. We have charities which act on the ground. But the youth are like, what do we do? I'm too young to be able to give millions of pounds. I'm too young to go and lobby the government. What do I do? Yeah, at least.
After Maghrib.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, in the sense that we can discuss, we can learn,
It's
we
a
can share
platform.
ideas, we can.
It's a community.
Yeah, we can address matters in lifetime. And if you might live in a community where you don't have a circle of friends who you can discuss this with. Either your friends are not mature enough, or you don't have the right circle of friends, or they won't understand a specific issue. You have us. Like, we're here to talk about these things with you. We read every comment.
You have us and we have you.
Yeah, we got you. Got you.
Inshallah. But
So
I think more
alhamdulillah.
importantly, if you're listening up to this point, if it's on YouTube,
Comment orange heart emoji.
apart from saying Mushtaba's weird request, please tell us what's been your most favorite episode from season
Oh yeah, that'd
1
be nice.
and from season 2. I would love to know.
Yeah.
But make sure you
And,
comment orange heart emoji.
Comment
first.
orange heart,
Orange
and inshallah
heart.
send some oranges and tangerines to say Mushtaba. That's more importantly, I want to request from every single one of you is that if you are enjoying and listening to any of our episodes, if you enjoyed it, share it with someone. Share it with your friend, share it with a family member, share it with a colleague at work, share it with your friends at school. Let them know about After Maghrib, inshallah. Together, the community and the platform will continue to grow.
Ameen, ya Rab. Ameen. Thank you, guys. Have a fantastic week. We will hopefully see you next week, unless we're thinking about
Allah
taking a
Kareem.
break. Allah knows
Allah
best.
Kareem.
We'll see, inshallah,
I
what
plan,
happens.
you plan, and
Allah
Allah's
is
the
the
best
best
of
of
plans.
planners.
Allah khair al-makni. All right, guys. See you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
wa barakatuh.